So there are three in my view, and the third one is probably self-inflicted, mostly from an Australian point of view. So I'll start with that because we can get that out of the way very quickly. So the third one, Australian specific, self-inflicted, is industrial challenges, right?
I knew you were going to say that, Joe. I knew you were going to say that.
You know where I sit on that, but at the end of the day, it's, in a time of shortage of skills with advent of technology and so on, HR has to also deal with the challenge of, the right to disconnect, the new type of laws out there with regards to casualized employment, sham contracting, and sort of, for good or bad reasons, those have been implemented, but now HR has to deal with it, right? New laws regarding sexual harassment and bullying and all that stuff. So that is, in my view, a third element, which is there. It's self-inflicted, but it's Australian specific. A lot of the other countries don't deal with that too much, right? Number 2 and number 3 in priority order. Number 2 will be AI and technology. The advent of AI and technology, not only in HR, impacting the HR fraternity and their functions, but the AI and technology as a whole in the industry. Understanding how to recruit the right people with the right skill set as this AI and technology is evolving so rapidly is a big challenge for HR right now, because they themselves sometimes may not understand what is the quantum technology and how do you recruit someone in an IT-related environment with knowledge and skills to operate quantum computers, and so on and so forth, So number 1, in my view, and it's a global phenomenon, is shortage of skills. Okay, so we got shortage of skills across the globe. In Australia, it's palpable. You can feel it, you can hear it. Every day you go in businesses, they talk about the lack of skills to do the work, right? I consult through MacStaff, my business, with a number of clients, and every day we talk about how best to attract skills and how to retain talent and develop talent so we can have an engaged workforce. That, in my view, will be the number 1, right at the minute, number 1, and for years to come, challenge facing the HR environment, the HR world.
Talking about those 3 challenges, in your view, how are HR tackling those 3 challenges right now?
If I start with the first one, not really tackling it. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul in a lot of in a number of ways. You talk about the skill shortage?
You talk about the skill shortage?
I'm talking about the skill shortages.
Yes.
A lot of the companies are putting adverts out there on platforms such as Seek, such as all these HR recruitment platforms where they are only targeting active job seekers and offering 20% more in terms of what they are earning from the other company. So that's what I call robbing Peter to pay Paul type of scenario. Some organizations are working in developing talent from sort of lower levels and even mid-tier professionals and developing them and trying to retain them and attract them and keeping them on board. Not a lot. I don't have the data on it, but I would say not more than 20% of organizations that I know of are actually actively working in L&D and talent development to truly develop the people in a way that they will be useful for future work. They put people on courses, don't get me wrong, L&D is a big industry in Australia. They put people, they will buy courses, they'll put people in MBA courses, they'll put people on vocational education pathways and so on, 100%. But how many of those pathways actually lead to better job outcomes? That's a big question, right?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And how are they tackling some innovative organizations looking at opening the doors to different types of contracts? And that's where I mentioned the third challenge is a challenge that's self-inflicted, because now, as soon as you start talking about opening up the doors to all sorts of different contracts, then you have a challenge that is, what about contractors being perceived as being employees as per Fair Work? And you need to navigate that because that's a law. You cannot just turn your blind eye to it. So it becomes a challenge, which is brought about by the fact that you are thinking out of the box and trying to solve the shortage of skills problem. But there are others that are also looking at offshoring, outsourcing, and various ways of looking at their core functions to break down their functions in such a way that you can then look at several ways of making it work for you profitably.